Remco Evenepoel sends a message to the haters, but who even won this stage? Pico, Jano finish, a new finish for La Vuelta, 181 k's long. Didn't even look like that hard a stage, but it has the most elevation gain in any of the stages in this year's Vuelta. And the final climb, despite being 12.5k, 6.5%, has a flat section in the middle. The actual climbing is a bit steeper than that. And the Brenes climb is both steep, 8.7% for about 7 or 8 kilometers, and the descent is treacherous, especially with the rain. Cooler temperatures is what came with it as well, a nice 20 to 15 degrees. And big favor to ask, if you like these videos, make sure you subscribe down below. Here's the breakaway that featured Marc Padun, who likes those cool temps for education first. By far, most likely to win the stage from the break, but Quick Step were pacing with Remy Cavagna. They were helped by FDJ, who were keeping the brake tight for Rudy Mollard. But what were Quick Step up to? They had Masnada in the breakaway. Ineos started pacing with Plapp, and he just eats into this gap to the breakaway. This is what kills Padun's stage win hopes. He would have won the stage easily, diamonds in the legs. You can see, Vuelta Stage 20 last year, if you look at him in the break, he was like dropping guys off the wheel there when he was a satellite rider for Haig. He helped Haig get third on GC. And on Brenes, the gap is now 146 thanks to Clock and Plapp on this hard climb. There's steep pinches, it's narrow, it's raining, and Padun just rides away from everybody at the base. 130 was the gap. He takes another 30 seconds, or maybe even 37 seconds, back on the GC group, which is paced by Alaphilippe and Vivaika. So Quickstep were better today, but they weren't doing like nuclear pace on these climbs. Padun was taking time out to them whilst Fernandez and Masnada chased him, and GC contenders weren't really dropping off the pace, except for Mollard, who's just not a GC contender really, he's just trying to defend the jersey. So Quickstep did a better job, but on the descent, Padun then gave that 40 seconds and more, I think almost a minute, straight back. And this is what's curious. Alaphilippe paced the end of the climb, and then Wout Poels takes over for Bahrain Victorious. And I'm not sure he's the best descender in the way. You remember off Collado Mena last year when Bernal and Roglic went clear? I feel like he lost a lot of time leading Bahrain on the descent there for Haig, and he takes over here and kind of misses a few corners and doesn't do the quickest descent, I don't think. Maid was kind of overlapping him, and even Alaphilippe, somewhat amusingly, kind of skipped ahead of him like they weren't happy with how quick the pace was. So Padun gets to the valley. Good news for him. Masnada's looking back. He's not helping Fernandez. He's just being dragged along in the valley as long as Fernandez will do it, and he's going to wait up and help Evenepoel and Alaphilippe. Alaphilippe's going to pace this valley and keep the gap pretty stable, about 50, 55 seconds to Padun. Evenepoel clearly wants the stage win. The cooler conditions suit him compared to the heat of the previous stages, and here we get to Pico Jano. Hard at the start, quite steep. Masnada doing a good job, called back and pacing for Evenepoel, but still, it's a big group. Look who's just having a little look around inside, to quote Jano up near Jay Vine. Just having a little look. What's going on up there? Keeping his wheels and options open. He didn't make the break. Said he had a flat earlier, the Alpecin de Koenig rider. Padun's looking good. It's gone to a minute, out to a minute 06. It'll go even more. And Masnada's kind of on his limit. Almeida here, you see, I think for UAE, he's talking to someone, motioning ahead. I don't know what he was saying. Ineos got 4 riders, Carapaz, Rodriguez, Sivakov, Gegenhardt, and off the Masnada pacing, he's kind of done. There's attacks from non-GC threats. Vine responds to that attack, I think, of Villela, and he's gone. 115 was the gap to Padun. Vine is going to eat into that quickly. Yates is the first major GC contender to attack as Vine's lost a lot of time. And you see, this is the benefit to Ineos of multiple leaders. Gegenhardt marks Yates. Sivakov can sit in the wheels a little bit. So Ineos, Sivakov and Gegenhardt are looking very, very good. Carapaz would lose a lot of time today. He doesn't look like he has the shape. O'Connor, who had a flat at the start of this climb, follows Gegenhardt and perhaps overextends a little bit. He pulls back Simon Yates. Who's going to attack next? Where is Jay Vine? He's now 40 seconds behind Padun with 8.4 Ks to go. And so it had to be, after all the Quick-Step Alpha Vinyl pacing and work in the rain, Remco Evenepoel attacks. The 2 Tour of Norway specialists are off on their merry way. Let's see how the others fare with their Watts. The answer was not very good. Remco's just cleaning off the little head unit. Let me have a look at what I'm doing. Oh, that's pretty hard, actually. Doesn't need to look back. He knows what's happening behind him. Roglic is on the wheel. Suddenly, he's shifting backwards. Kuss is dropped. Roglic is behind Sivakov. It's just Enric Mas, who's absolutely flying Enric after a disappointing Tour de France in year so far. And Sivakov gives the look back, which means he cannot hold the shoe. He goes back with Roglic. And now Remco allows himself a little look behind to see, oh well, continues pacing on anyway. If you want to see the watts from this climb, go check out lanternerouge.com.au. We have the watts, the graphs, etc. linked down below. Vine gets to Perduen before the flatter section, this first half of the climb, which is steep, and goes straight past him. Crazy performance from Jay Vine. Primoz Roglic fighting with Sivakov in the wheel, and then Ayuso comes back. The phenom, the special one, 19 years old. Sivakov's chasing him. Sivakov is, as well as he showed in Vuelta Burgos, in terrific shape. He's pacing with Yates and Roglic there. They'll be caught by the other GC contenders, and Evenepoel's just got Mas on the wheel, and he's just pacing a steady rhythm. Here's this flat section. Vine sort of distances his behind TV camera or motorbike, and here he is. He's not got 38 seconds to Evenepoel. He's got only 26. Ayuso's somewhere between Evenepoel and the Roglic group, and he is actually able to extend that gap quite nicely to the Roglic, Hindley, Kelderman, Ineos-led group. And the question is as well here, should Enric Mas pull? And the answer is, when you look at Evenepoel's watts and how Evenepoel doesn't even provide that much of a draft anyway, no. Enric Mas did one of his career best ever performances today. He's probably just hanging on. I think he was right to ride it as he did, whilst Ineos also try the right thing, which is attacking Roglic with Gegenhardt. He's brought back, and poor Roglic, always fighting like the warrior he is, chasing Evenepoel, but he lose big time today. Over a minute to the young Belgian, who's got Mas on the wheel, answering some critics. Could he go uphill fast in a World Tour stage race? And for the umpteenth time, the watts are the watts. Who do they beat? Tour of Norway, who do they beat? Look who they beat now! In the Vuelta of España mountain top finish. Roglic, Hindley, Kelderman, Gegenhardt, Sivakov, Almeida. Jay Vine takes his first pro win. Huge performance, and congrats to him from the GC group in the Vuelta, whilst Remco takes a little second on Enric Mas, and huge time on GC and the red jersey. Just another day in the office for the little master. Big Vuelta stage. I didn't expect it to be that explosive. Vine winning ahead of Evenepoel, Mas, Ayuso, Roglic, and Sivakov's group on 137. Ineos still have 3 GC contenders in the fight. Yates is looking pretty good. Bora still have Hindley and Kelderman in the fight. Ayuso moves up a bit on GC too, so UAE have 2 leaders as well. But Evenepoel's looking very good. 28 seconds on Mas, 101 on Roglic, with a nice TT for him to come. Here's what Jay Vine had to say after the stage.
This is for you, my wife, who's basically just done everything for me for the last 3 or 4 years to get me to this point. And I guess it's time for me to get a Corvette now.
Make sure you subscribe if you liked the video. This Vuelta could be an absolute cracker. I'll have recaps of all the stages until stage 7 tomorrow. Ciao.